the Garnet Trust Hour on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And welcome into the Garnet Trust Hour. Tyler Head, Chris Clark, along with you on this Reaction Monday, coming fresh off the bye week. Now we get set for Florida to come into town this weekend. Somebody joining us today that can speak a lot to that from South Carolina football, Boogie Huntley. Or you introduced yourself as Alex to me. Do you prefer Alex? Do you prefer Boogie? I can do either one here.
Yeah, I do whatever, my whole life I've been known as Boogie, but teachers call me Boogie. I've had people call me, it's really whatever, it's whatever you want to do. Boogie, Alex, they're both the same to me.
Now, where did that originate from? What's the story there?
Yeah, so before I can even remember, honestly, so my brother said I used to crawl fast.
Okay.
And so the phrase, look at him, Boogie, came up. And
all right.
At 4 years old, I started playing football. And when I went out there, my mom would say, look at him, Boogie. And then literally the rest is history. That's all I remember. I don't know anything else but Boogie or Alex if it's very formal or my mom gets mad.
Now that to me is a better way of getting that nickname than like Booger McFarland, who said like his little sister used to just call him a booger.
Yeah.
And now he's been known as Booger his whole life.
Oh.
So I think that's a better way of getting that nickname.
That's true.
Yeah, it gets confused sometimes, so I love to be able to clear it up.
Booger, he's a very, unique individual, though, so it kind of fits him.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, so, Boogie, you, first of all, I see you got the tat going. So those are your initials.
They are.
The tattoo. When'd you get that? You had that for a while?
I got this tattoo almost a year ago. I think about, 10 months ago, I'd say, yeah.
Painful?
So the inside of the arm, by the bicep and kind of near my armpit.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't wish that pain on anyone.
What is that? I mean, what does it feel like? Is it like constantly getting a shot? I have no tattoos, full disclosure.
Honestly, it's just imagine somebody just scraping it kind of, digging in your arm a little bit. I mean, every other tattoo felt fine. Chest, form, I even got some on my elbow a little bit, and collarbone. All that was fine, but once I got to this inner bicep, ooh.
How long did that take?
I think that took about 4 hours. So, yeah, it was just sitting there, no music. I forgot my headphones. So, no music, just listening to the needle.
Ooh, that's brutal.
Yeah. Now, on the football field, how much does the intimidation factor ramp up for somebody with tattoos? Is that +5 on the intimidation scale?
Honestly, I hope so, because I got an arm of them. But, nah, I mean, when you're out there, I feel like, I now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if I notice people's tattoos or anything about them, honestly. I notice their face because I'm looking at it, we're playing, but I can't even think of a time where I've been like, oh, man, that guy has some nice tats.
Who's the most tatted guy on the team? On one of your teammates?
There are some low-key guys who you don't really, think have tats because, they're just always wearing hoodies or you just never even think about it. But there are a couple guys on the team who had a lot of tattoos, a really good amount, leg tats, arm, upper body, all that. I'm trying to think. I know Mario has some tattoos, and he's got the brand, so he's got a lot going on as well. So, yes, I don't know. A lot of guys, just express themselves, do what they can.
You got more on the way? You want to get more?
I've actually, some people call it, the itch. You always want to, once you get your first tattoo, you just want to keep going and going. And I think I went through my tattoo phase of need, I want another tattoo, I'm big on, unless I have something meaningful, that's the only time I'm going to get something, everything on my body, I really want it, and it means something to me. So now I don't really have something where I'm okay, I want this to be on me forever. So until that moment, until I have that thing or something that I want to represent my whole life, that's when I get a tattoo. But until then, I'm okay.
So bye week, I know you've taken some time to rest up. You're taking some time to play a little golf. How do you feel physically right now, by the way? Because I think you were one of the guys that Coach Beamer mentioned among many guys that were kind of, just beat up, banged up, after playing the first 5 games of the season. So how do you feel physically?
I feel pretty good. I feel like, especially in college football, especially SEC, I should say, you're never really going to be 100. Throughout the whole season, there's never a time where you're going to be 100, let alone 90, 95. It's just how close can you be 85? Like how well can you perform when you're, not perfect. You're not feeling 100%. And so that's what it's all about. So this bye week, it was amazing. Coaches, training staff, everybody, they helped us get right, got in the training room, got some treatment, gave us some time off. So it helped out a lot, and I'm feeling pretty good.
So we know you guys last week had a little bit of a different schedule. You practiced Monday through Wednesday, had basically Thursday through Saturday off, got back in yesterday, started preparing for Florida, and back to a normal week, starting today. How beneficial is just having those couple days off to not have to do much football-related stuff, not only from a physical standpoint, but a mental standpoint?
Yeah, it's amazing. Physically, I feel like it's more one of those things where you can just imagine. You don't have to do these hard practices or workouts. You can kind of just focus on getting your body back. So physically, it's amazing. And even mentally, some guys need just a time away, get your mind off of it. We've been going strong in football since late July, I think. So just get your mind off it a little bit, just reset, and we can all come back, just hit the ground running and finish out the season. And so that's kind of what this bye week was. Do whatever you had to do personally and come back into the building ready to go.
So we talk about that a lot, the difference in playing hurt. Like basically almost anybody playing football is playing hurt versus playing injured. You don't want to be playing injured, but most of the time you're playing hurt. So you mentioned 85%. Like let's say midway through the season, do you think just about everybody in college football is running at like 85%? Is that kind of your guess?
Yeah, from how I feel and how I've experienced things and seeing other people and just, through living through college football, I feel like it has to be. If there's a team out there and all their guys are 100%, they probably figured something out that nobody else has, or they're going to be very rich in a couple years if they can get that science out there everybody else. Just because it's a tough sport. You practice hard, you play hard. So there's not many people are going to stay 100% throughout the whole season. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things where, you're not, like you said, it's a big difference between hurt and injured. And so if you're hurt, you still got to play, still got to do it. So how well are you going to be able to play hurt?
For you guys down in the trenches, and obviously it's physical on every single play for you guys, are you guys more banged up than everybody else, you would say?
I'd just say it's a little different for different positions. Certain positions are more likely to certain injuries, and I guess the D-line, we just all kind of, hit here, maybe bumps and bruises here, strains, whatever. But luckily, we do have some good dudes on the D-line, and even on the team who know, when to turn it on and off, I guess, body-wise. So when it's time to play, they come to play, and if there's ever a time they can, sneak in a little rest or two, then hopefully they can get that in. And so I feel like everybody now is getting their body back, getting their mind right, and just ready to hop into Florida.
So you felt good enough over the bye week, though, to play some golf. We'll get into that. By the way, I wished you a happy birthday yesterday. It was your birthday yesterday, Big 22. Yeah, Tyler said that he would sing you happy birthday on the air. We'll save that for a couple.
They want me to sing so badly. I'm terrible at singing. I don't know why they get me to do that.
We're gonna do it at some point. But yeah, so I know you got to spend some family time. You got to play some golf. Went and saw our guys over at Charwood.
Yep.
How did you play? Did you play with anybody on the team?
So I played with Nick Gargiulio one day. And then I played with a baseball player, Jackson Phipps, the other day.
Okay. Yeah. How did so Nick has told us a little bit about his golf exploits and how he's been, kind of trying to get into it.
Definitely.
What's his has he progressed some?
No, he definitely has.
I thought you were going to say no, not yet.
Well, the first time I golfed with him a couple days ago, it was a better performance for sure.
Okay.
On what scale, that's another question. But he's getting better. He just, falls apart sometimes. He might get to the green with a par, look, finish with a triple. I don't know, but he's super fun to golf with, super, super cool dude. So just those guys who are fun, energy, funny, going out to the course with them, that's kind of where you just, don't think about anything, just have fun, play, and that's what I like.
Now, have you always been a golf guy, or has that been since you've been here?
It's really since I think sophomore year here is when I got into it. Growing up, my dad had golfed a good bit growing up, but I really only like sports that were physical or highly, just had a lot of movements, running, jumping, hitting. I love those sports. So golf is kind of the exact opposite of it. So I guess it took me a little maturing to do to actually start to like it.
So you have more appreciation for just how tough golf is now?
100%. It is.
Frustrating game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It can really upset you, but it also can make you feel great. So that's kind of why I love it,
Well, if you hit a good shot, it's like addicting because you're like, God. Oh man, look at that. But then that's like one in, For some guys, it's
a lot
kind of common, right? For me, not common at all.
Yeah, just that one shot keep you coming back.
Just tell him, Boogie Tyler, about our guy Michael over at Pro Swing too.
Yep.
Got to get him over to Pro Swing.
Oh yeah, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's we got to hit some balls there on the podcast, so we'll get Boogie over there too. We got to dive next, Tyler, into here in a little bit into Florida prep, which the team is now fully back into.
I was gonna say, does it feel like those off days for the bye week go by really fast, and then you're right back into business as usual, getting ready for another week?
Usually it does. I'd say, I guess this bye week, it actually felt like a perfect amount of time. Days didn't go by too fast. It might have been because my birthday, and so I guess it felt a little different. But it was a great bye week, got away from it, but now I'm glad to be back to it. So I think it was a perfect little break, but now we're back.
Well,
what's the Monday? Y'all get back in. This is kind of like practice resumes to its normal, like last week, as Tyler said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This week back to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice, Friday walkthrough, so it's normal. So what are you guys doing on Mondays? Like, is today just kind of meetings, film review stuff, or is it a total day off?
Yeah, so a lot of if you have treatment, anything like that, got to come in the building. And so there aren't really just on-schedule mandatory meetings here than the third.
Yeah.
Almost all positions that I can think of, they all meet on Mondays. Just watch some film, you do whatever you got to do. Just kind of just in the book stuff, off the field stuff. They'll do that on Mondays. Just kind of just text guys, hey, let's all do film this time. So anything like that. Yep. And then Tuesdays when, hit the ground running and go to work.
Yep. All right, we'll dive more into the bye week stuff and take a look at Florida this upcoming weekend. As Garnet Trust Hour rolls along, today's guest, Boogie Huntley, here on The Game.
It's the Garnet Trust Hour on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And welcome back in. It is the Garnet Trust Hour here on The Game on your Reaction Monday. Tyler and Chris along with you. Today's guest, Boogie Huntley, in on his off day. So thank you for being in here. And obviously now turning our attention to Florida this upcoming weekend. And Boogie, it's no secret what happened last year down in the Swamp. It was a rough game. And certainly nobody knew what was going to happen over the next 2 weeks against Tennessee and Clemson. And certainly the season ended up a whole lot better than people thought it was going to be 10 games into the year. Florida coming in here this weekend, how much does what happened last year serve as a motivating tool for, I don't want to say getting revenge, but being motivated to come out and have a better performance against the same team?
Yeah, I feel like everybody kind of put the goods and the bads of last year away just because, it's a whole new year. We have new things we want to accomplish, new things we want to do, and no need to dwell on the past. But with that being said, I'll also say that it is one of those things just, mentally, that's just, last year was something we can't let happen again. We hated the feeling we had. And so when it comes to losses like that, the only thing you should remember is how you felt after that game, in my opinion, is that horrible feeling you have deep down inside. Those are the things you remember, and those are the things that kind of motivate you just a little bit more to play harder, just because you never want to, let yourself down, let your teammates down, fans, family, everybody. You never want to do that. So that's kind of what I'd say about last year's game.
On motivation, I want to get your take on this as a player who goes through this every week. I think we talk about that a lot. Like, we talked about it going into the Tennessee game for the Vols, right? Like, hey, they want revenge because of last year, right? For y'all, hey, you want revenge against Florida. But is it more of, I feel like almost every time a college football team takes the field, both teams want to win, right? I mean, like, both teams are motivated. Sometimes teams have, like, I don't know, some internal strife or something like that that's going on that can maybe have an effect on things. But is the motivational part maybe pointing you, like, more towards the process of, like, what you need to do? Does that question make sense? Like, I feel like you can be super motivated or you can want revenge, but if you don't play well, you're not going to win, right? Yeah. So is it more of just like, hey, we don't want to feel that feeling again. Let's take a hard look at, like, what we need to do to prepare this time?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of it, just because I feel like that's, with a game like last year, it's hard to forget that, and it's hard to, just erase that out your mind. So there's definitely some aspects of, oh, man, we can't have this happen again. We know this feeling. We never want to have that feeling again. There's definitely a little bit of that. And that's just kind of like an inside thing. I don't think anybody really has to say it to understand it, just because, it was bad. But it's also just, we put so much work into it. We know what team we can be. We know what team we want to be. And so, like you said, if you don't play well, that's kind of all it's about. So the motivation, just do your job, play well. It just comes from all the hard work. And then also playing for your brothers. That's a big one. It's a lot. If you're working for not only yourself, but the guy next to you, your brother, who you bleed, sweat, do everything with, it's a lot more on your shoulders, but in a good way. You're playing for a lot more than yourself, and so that's kind of what it's about.
Let's get your early scouting report on Florida. Don't give too much away. Don't say, well, we're going to do this, obviously, and I know you wouldn't do that anyway. But early thoughts on their team as you dive into them this week, but particularly with their offense, because that's going to be your focus, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team. SEC team, won some games, and I give Florida a lot of respect, kind of the same way I do a lot of opponents, but give them a lot of respect, but just kind of, think about their weaknesses, what they're good at, and target certain things. And so just looking around, I mean, they have a good running back group. They have a deep O-line group. They got a couple guys who've been in and out, shuffling. They're all kind of older to an extent. They got the quarterback, and so, it's going to be an interesting game, but it's nothing I don't think we can't handle or nothing we haven't seen. So I'm trying to say as much as I can without saying too much. But they're a good team, but I also think that if we read our keys, fit our gaps, just play well, it's going to be a good game.
You mentioned that good running back room that they have, a good combo there with Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne, and Trevor was actually out this past weekend against Vanderbilt. But when you look at a team like that that's coming in that is going to run the ball, what, if anything, looks different this week in your preparation for them as opposed to a team that maybe is going to be throwing it a little bit more?
Preparation-wise, I mean, we might just see different things in practice or stuff like that. But personal preparation, I try and keep it all the same. And the only thing that changes between run or pass really is just, how I play on the field. It's not mentally every snap I'm kind of ready for run, transition to pass, whatever it may be, depending on down the distance. But, yeah, it's all the same to me, really. Whether a team wants to come in here, run, or come in here and pass, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to prepare the same way. I'm going to have the same mindset going into the game. And once we get in between those lines, that's when it's really just, play football. Just go out there, make some plays.
So what is your favorite time of day to play? We're going to separate this between home and away games, but just if you had to pick noon, 3:30, 4, 7, 7:30, like what's your favorite?
3:30.
Okay.
Perfect.
3:30. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But
Right in the
3:30
middle.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, 7 o'clock game. We have a lot of night games.
Yeah.
You guys play really well at night. by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
That is also true. But we do have a lot of night games, and so it's a lot of time in the hotel. It is a lot of time in the hotel. So I kind of, on game days, I'm a guy, once I wake up, I'm ready to play.
You want to get that energy out.
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. I'm kind of just sitting there, just in the hotel, waiting. Don't know what to do with myself sometimes. I'm just sitting there watching other games, but I really could care less about the other games going on because I want to play. So, yeah, I'm up 3:30 guy. Gives you enough time to sleep in a little bit, but also you're not waiting the whole day to play.
We talked to somebody recently who liked the noon game.
Yeah, that's a big one, too.
Was it Tonka?
No.
No, it wasn't.
I don't remember who it was.
I don't either.
Maybe TJ Sanders.
Maybe Marcel.
I can see TJ.
I think it was
saying
TJ.
that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I think it's TJ.
Yeah, a lot of
Or
people,
Marcellus, yeah.
A lot of guys are fans of those midday games.
You just get it and get it.
Yeah,
done.
yeah, just because it like it's a lot of time in the hotel or just sitting around and we're all kind of the same on the team, I guess. That we want to play. We wake up, it's game day. It's the best day of the week. So when that day comes, just sitting in a hotel waiting, it's just it's not the best. But we do play well at night as well. I also have noticed that. So no matter when the game is, we're going to have fun. We're going to go out there and try and fly around.
Yeah.
But preference 3:30 for me.
Now, a couple weeks ago when Southern Cal and Colorado played, that was a 10 a.m. local kickout in Boulder. Would you be down with something like that?
Honestly, so often, probably not. But it kind of reminds me of the old days back when you're playing like Pee Wee football. Like those games, those early Saturday games.
8 a.m.
Yeah. So that'd be kind of fun to switch it up.
Well, last year when y'all played at Arkansas, that was 11 a.m. local.
Yeah.
It's not 10, but
Yeah.
that was pretty early. I mean, we got up that morning and we're like, oh, it's time to walk to the stadium. And for
Yeah.
you guys, y'all are actually playing in a football game, more important.
Yes, sir.
So that's a lot of preparation. All right, do you like playing, I assume you like playing at home better?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. without
There's
a
not
doubt.
many, like Juice Wells, I think is the only person that said he likes playing away games better.
Well, Juice, that's all of his touchdowns were
Yeah,
like away
He
touchdowns last
only
year.
scores touchdowns on the road.
Yeah, no, I mean, Williams-Brice, the atmosphere,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I chose to come to South Carolina was to play in front of those fans and that crowd. So that's something I cherish every time I go into that stadium. I love it. It's a great time, great atmosphere. So I love that place.
All right, we'll have more with Boogie Huntley as today's edition of the Garnet Trust Hour rolls on a Reaction Monday here on the
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Welcome back in. Garnet Trust Hour on your Reaction Monday. Tyler Head, Chris Clark with you in the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Today's guest, Carolina defensive lineman Boogie Huntley, hanging out with us. Talking about the bye week, talking about getting ready for Florida this upcoming weekend, 3:30, which you can listen to right here on The Game. We were talking about playing home and away at the end of that last segment there, and you look at this Florida team, in the year and a half under Billy Napier, they've only won one game on the road. That was against Texas A&M last year, and Texas A&M was missing like half of their key players due to injury and illness and several other things there. What is the biggest difference playing on the road? Why would a team like that struggle so much away from the swamp? Well, what goes into a road game where those kind of things can happen?
Honestly, I didn't even know that, but just a change of scenery. It's a whole different, I guess, hotel. We stay in hotels, whole different hotel, whole different, setting. So I guess, sometimes it can knock you out of your groove. And then besides that, you have the crowd. So momentum is a big thing about all sports, all games. And so the crowd can really affect the momentum sometimes. And that can affect teams. If you're going to a great stadium or a place with a great atmosphere, the home team that makes a big play, the stadium's gonna erupt. So things like that, you can kind of sway the momentum a little bit. It works in your favor. So when you have little things like that, those can kind of push to your side of the game. So I guess that's what I'd say.
Y'all have played in some big environments this year already on the road. You played in Athens, played in Knoxville, you played the neutral site game in Charlotte. But do you like having it's like always a point of conversation with the fans. Like you look at some of the like Missouri's opening schedule before they got into SEC play, or Georgia's schedule before they got into SEC play. Frankly, easier than you guys have North Carolina and Clemson, and then all the SEC games, right? So, but do you like it that way better, like just playing that competition every single week?
I mean, I wouldn't say I dislike it or like it.
Yeah.
For me personally, I kind of see it as whoever's on the schedule, that's just who's next.
Right.
So, like, yeah, beginning of the season, I might look at the schedule and be like, man, like we got a pretty stacked schedule. But that thought kind of goes out of my head pretty quick, because once we get into the season, after the first game, I personally kind of flip that switch. Like, all right, now for the season, every week for the next 12 weeks, I guess it is a grind. It's like a gauntlet. All right, you beat this team. Well, next week you got this team. So, there's no really rest of it, but that's just how kind of football is, college football is in SEC.
And how much are you paying attention to what your opponents down the line are doing? Obviously, Kentucky beat Florida pretty soundly last weekend, lost to Georgia this past weekend. Missouri loses a shootout game against LSU. Like, how much are you keeping tabs on what they're doing, or is it so locked in, like, I'll see the tape the week before and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so, like, this bye weekend, if I watched some of the SEC games and some of the other conferences games a little bit, but I was keyword trying to kind of watch it for entertainment, but I've been playing football so long now, I guess I just look at it different. I kind of am sitting there like breaking down what the O-line was doing or the D-line, like what they should have done better or how it was good, stuff like that. So when it comes to these teams, I might have a thought like, okay, yeah, I just watched these dudes beat so-and-so. But it's really, for me, I'm just watching the film. I'm breaking it down. I'm kind of I try to stay focused on who I got that week. And I know if I haven't played them yet, I will pretty soon.
Are you able to watch any football for entertainment anymore, or is it all just, I'm so ingrained in it that I have to look at it this way now?
I'd say once games, especially NFL games, kind of get a little tight, like it's a good game, that's where I'm kind of, go back and I'm excited. Oh, what's going to happen? Who do I think? But a lot of games, I'm kind of just watching. I'm looking at that D-line, O-line group, just watching how they're moving, what they're doing. And so it's very different from how I used to watch football.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so that's your starting point. Like, you're watching the lines, like, throughout. Like, like running back gets the ball, you're still kind of paying attention to what the D-line's doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. That's like in last night's game with the Niners. I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I am not watching anybody else with the D-line. Like, Javon got in a good bit, so I was watching him a lot. And so it's just stuff like that, And I kind of enjoy that. I love D-line. I do. I love the position. I mean, I love football, but I love D-line. And so, I still enjoy watching that.
I still think I know we talked about this before. I still think you're going to end up being a coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where I could see myself doing that as well. I just know coaching it's a hard job, it's a stressful job.
Oh yeah,
and so, I mean, if it comes to that, then it comes to that, and I think I'd put my give all my effort into
private training at the least.
Oh,
do some training on the side.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I could definitely do that, and I think I'd have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah,
I think I'd be able to help some people out. I'd like to say so, but. Yeah, I could see myself doing that, and I've definitely thought about that a good bit as well.
Well, our afternoon host, Jay, he thinks you should run for public office.
Okay.
He would.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've actually had a couple people tell me that before, and so I'm really just, right now I'm trying to live in the moment while still keeping my eye out on what the future might hold and anything like that. So I haven't closed any doors off. I'm just... one day at a time.
He'll be excited to know that's a possibility.
Yes.
He's Jay's big, political sphere guy. So he's got you. You're his preferred candidate for.
Got it.
So I don't know what office.
He just said public office.
Yeah, just any public office. Yes,
I appreciate.
And you do have experience in that realm, as we know.
Yeah,
student body president Hammond. So let's go back to run defense. So Tyler was mentioning earlier, take it back to Florida. you mentioned their experienced offensive line. They have some depth there, a couple really good backs, as we know, and they're going to want to come out and, run the football, and be efficient offensively. So my take has been that maybe the numbers have not shown it this year always, but I do feel like y'all's defense is a better run-stopping team than last year. Agree? Disagree?
I'd like to agree.
Okay.
I think numbers-wise, I think we might be able to, so far, like this far in the season, I think we might be able to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say so.
Do you, if I were to ask you that and let's say you're an outside observer, let's say you don't even play on the team, like would you look at the numbers or would you kind of go eye test or would you kind of mix both? I mean, because ultimately, like, it's a results business. Like, you are what you are. But, like, I still feel like if you gave me one, I think this year's run defense has been better.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it has been better. I don't say that to discredit anybody last year or anything of that nature. But I do think this year's been better, and I think it's going to continue to get better as the year goes on and, get in the film room more, get more to the reps in practice.
Yeah, so going back to game one, I know I was going to ask you, like, what has to get better, in order to continue to progress. So I'm thinking back to game one after the UNC game. Clayton White said that he had gone back and Coach Robertson, your position coach, had gone back and they just saw just some technique things, right, that could be cleaned up. So is that what it is from game 1 to game 5 to game 6 to game 12? Like, what's the progression to continue getting better?
Yeah, I mean, like they said, game 1 was technique. It was bad. I know it was a game we all wish we could get back, a game we wish we could kind of do over, but we can't. That's football, so we just got to learn from that. And so, that was a big technique game, We just got to stay with our proper technique, do what we're being coached, and now getting all the way up to, game 6?
Yep.
Yeah, game 6. It's more, we're getting, a little better here on technique, which you can never stop improving technique. It can always get better. So that's always a big thing. But also just, having the right run fits, staying in your gaps, reading your keys, and doing your job. A lot of times it's our defense, and a lot of defenses is everybody has a job. Do your job. If everybody does their job, we're going to win the game. Just because in defense, it's supposed to be every guy has a certain gap or alignment or whatever that will stop people from making a play. So if we do that, just do your job, it should be good.
So when a football player's technique, it's probably not a blanket answer, right? But when a technique, when you kind of lose your technique or when you get out of the mindset of doing your job, is it more of just you're so amped up playing, like, I'm going to make a play, and so then your technique fails, or is it something maybe the offense is doing to kind of make you think, or is it sometimes both? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I would say sometimes both, just to give a better answer, but I feel like for me and my experience and seeing other guys too, it's just that it's that game moment, you're so amped up, the adrenaline running, things going, and I know for D-line, you're sitting there lined up across the guy, and it's about to be a battle. It's a fight every snap. And so sometimes you can kind of get away from your job and mentally and just kind of make it a personal battle. It's something you shouldn't do. It's not a personal battle. This is a game, Gamecocks versus whoever it is. It's not Boogie versus the O-lineman. So I know sometimes you can just get so into the game and so just competitive, that competitive spirit in you, and you want to do certain things. You want to make the big play. You want to help the team out. But that's not always what it's about. It's just doing your job and making that play when it's your time to make that play.
All right, we'll come back and wrap up today's edition of the Garnet Trust Hour with Boogie Huntley on a Reaction Monday here on The Game.
It's the Garnet Trust Hour on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Well, welcome back in. It's the Garnet Trust Hour here on a Reaction Monday. Tyler and Chris, along with you in the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, Boogie Huntley with us for a few more minutes. Talking about coming off the bye week, heading into Florida this weekend. Preston Thorne, who is a co-host on our morning show, former defensive lineman for the Gamecocks back in the early 2000s under Lou Holtz, said last week that those bye week practices are a lot different. Obviously, you're not focusing on a specific opponent for that upcoming weekend, or you can focus a little bit more on technique and on the nuances of your specific skill set itself. How much of that went into what y'all did Monday through Wednesday of last week that can hopefully better prepare you for this upcoming slate of games to close out the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bye week is something super useful, not only getting yourself right, physically and mentally, but just like you said, kind of improving on your own technique and even just your defenses or your front seven or how teams or yourself is gelling with other players or other positions. And so that what he was saying was so true. We got to focus on things like basic technique because you can never go wrong with the basics. You can never stop sharpening your skills there. And, we got to learn certain super specific little details, or not learn, but just, keep harping on them. Just the little things, because those are the things that win and lose games. So when you get to focus a lot on that instead of what, other teams are going to do or situations, stuff like that, it can help out a lot.
Remember when Lou Holtz used to do those, pregame speeches, on ESPN?
Yeah.
They would give him, a game, and he would do, the speech?
Yeah.
Those are funny. Have you ever done, Boogie, so I saw last week before the Tennessee game, Debo was given, the pregame, fire everybody up. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I'll be, if when that whole happens right after the punt, everybody run, Debo getting everybody crazy, whatever, I'll be sitting right next to him, yeah. Ad-libs, whatever.
Ad-libs.
Yeah, just trying to be, hype in that sense. But the only time I'm really talking, when it's on game day, really, is just, if it's ever needed. That's kind of how I see it. It's one of those things where, I'm going to always try and be a leader, help the team out whichever way I can, break guys down here and there. But if I ever, gather the guys up, it's not really a talk of, hey, let's keep doing well. It's just one of those things like, let's lock in. We're better than that kind of thing. And so that's kind of how what I do, I guess, how I see it.
Didn't you do that at the Mississippi State game?
Yeah.
Didn't you have a little powwow? You called a little meeting?
Yeah, I've done that a couple games so far. And, it's just one of those things that what's good, I feel like, about our team is a lot of times when a guy or a coach says something about, just us playing better or anything like that, we're not saying anything that people don't think or they don't know. We're all thinking the same thing. We're all sitting there, we got to play better. It's just, when a certain person, me, myself, a coach, anybody brings, the team up together and we have that talk man to man, it's a little different. I don't know. It's hard to describe because you're just so in the moment.
Yeah.
And you're just your feelings, emotions, your competitiveness is all just flowing out of you. So that's all it is. But the whole team, we want to be great. We want to get better. We want to play better if we're playing bad. So that's all that is.
Now, sitting here talking to you for this past hour, you're very calm, very even-keeled. Does that flip switch as soon as you step onto the football field? And can you turn it right back off as soon as the game's over?
I think there is a new... It's funny because I've always thought about that myself because when I put the helmet on personally, it's kind of like just a new feeling. You can't do anything wrong out there. You can be 100% yourself whenever you feel. You can, you fight people every day for a living. And so it's kind of fun. It's aggressive, it's competitive, and that's kind of who I am. So when I'm off the field, I'm a very chill, relaxed guy, like to talk, joke around, but when I'm on the field, it's trying to really have fun and really go crazy, just do what it is. So yeah, I definitely say it's kind of a new side of myself that comes out when I'm on the field.
One thing that Coach Beamer has been pretty good at, in my opinion, is kind of keeping you guys on track, and of course, y'all get all the credit in the world for that too. When people have started to count this team out. I think of 2020, y'all had a couple wins. Florida was one of them, where 2021, I'm sorry, where nobody really expected it. 2022, last year, after the Florida game, season's over, pack it up, everybody go home, and then y'all respond with the end of the year. So How is he able to kind of keep y'all on track and rally the troops, so to speak, and how are y'all able to do it as a team as well?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches, Coach Beamer and all the coaches, they do a great job. I think it starts with the dudes in the facility. We all want to win. There aren't really guys who want to give up, who want to quit. I guess the dudes on the Gamecock football team, they're all competitors. They never have that quit feeling or want to quit. So it's never really a hard thing, I guess, to keep us on track. I feel like a good thing from last year is that if you ever are, feeling kind of negative or anything about the team, like you just said, last year we went into Florida, played an awful game, and then finished out the season the way we did. So, football is every given Sunday. In this case, any given Saturday, and that's how I see it.
When you look at this Saturday's game, again, without giving too much away, your kind of keys to the game, what do y'all have to do defensively to be able to walk away and have had a successful afternoon?
Defensively, honestly, I say this if we do this, we'll win the game. If everybody does their job on that specific play, no MEs, no falling out of a gap, no, just technique is on point. If we do that, then we'll win the game. Mm-hmm. And I have no if, and, or but about that in my head. I have no question about that in my head. If we do our job, each individual person, and this is on the whole team, if we do our job, just as your position, as your defense tackle, defense end, cornerback, nickel, whatever it is, if that person and the whole defense does their job together at the same time, we'll win the game.
All right. Well, Boogie, thanks for hanging out with us. We certainly wish you and your teammates best luck this weekend and best luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for today's edition of the Garnet Trust Hour. He's Boogie Huntley. I'm Tyler Head. That's Chris Clark. Coming up next, Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on the Game.